Good evening. We'll call the council back to order, and I will ask clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Stefanski.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Vitale.
Excused.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Haas.
Here.
Keene. Here. Lysick.
Here.
Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
9 present, 1 excused.
We have a quorum, and we will begin with the Administration Committee. I will ask the clerk to read out that report.
The Administration Committee recommended adoption of items 37 and 38 and approval of item 39.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask clerk for a roll call.
Alderperson Stefanski.
Aye.
Turner. Aye. Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham. Aye. Haas.
Aye.
Keene. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. And then we will go to the Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee recommended placing on file item 41.
I move in accordance with the committee report, Mayor Devine.
Thank you, Alderman Rote. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Stefanski.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keene. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. We will now proceed to the Economic Development Committee.
Economic Development Committee recommended referral to the Plan Commission for item number 40, adoption of item 43, grant with amended premises description number 44, hold item 45, grant 46, 47, 48, and 50, grant with amended hours item 49, adoption of item 51, approval of item 52, and hold item 53 and number 42 be read out separately.
Thank you.
I move for adoption of the committee report on those items.
Thank you, Alderman Lysick. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Stefanski.
Aye.
Turner. Aye. Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keene. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And then we have item 42. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Devine, item 2 is consideration of a resolution creating tax incremental District 19, approving the project plan and establishing its boundaries, and was acted on favorably by all members of the committee present. I move for adoption of that item.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Stefanski.
No.
Turner.
Aye.
Vitale. Oops, excuse me. Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keene. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
No.
7 in favor, 2 opposed.
Motion carries. And we'll go to the Public Safety Committee. And we'll ask the clerk to read out that report.
The Public Safety Committee recommended granting of items 54, 55, 59, 62, 64, 65, holding items 57, 60, 61, 66, 67, and 68, denial of items 56 and 63, and then there was a split vote on 58. Read that separately.
Okay. Alderperson Grisham. Sorry, I was just trying to keep up on my notes. Thank you. Any discussion?
Offer clarification for item 58. There was a 3-2 for denial for Darius Salinas. I want to give a little bit of background.
Well, first, can we vote on the balance and then?
Oh, yes, we can.
Take that
I'm
out
sorry.
Separately. Yeah.
I know I always do this.
That's all good. So if just to make sure, I've got 56 was a denial, and 63 was a denial, and 58 was a split vote, and 68. Was 68 okay? 58. Okay. Thank you. So on the balance, is there any discussion? And hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. No. Now what's next? 58? Okay. Now we're acting on 58. Alderperson Grisham.
I'm back on. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Darius Salinas is an applicant for bartender's license. And however, he has a bit of a background that brought him to committee. In fact, 2 OWIs. What I found to be credible from this young man is that he owned his mistakes. He, under the state statute 125, showed competent rehabilitation, and he plans on using this bartender's license to work at Phoenix 360, which is an event venue, not necessarily at bars and whatnot. He wants to take the opportunity to use this as a stepping stone into a potential career as a wedding coordinator and other things. So my take on his explanation as to what his record reflected showed growth, and I was a firm believer in offering second chances, and I think he deserved it. So that's why my vote is to approve.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderperson Keen.
what were the dates of the 2 OWIs? Does anyone have that?
I do. And if I'm going to say it for the record, there was his first OWI was in 2020, and his second was in 2021. He does have a valid driver's license, which the reason that we looked at this is some of the items could be looked at as habitual law offenses. But we're talking things that went back to 2018, like instruction permit violation, operating without a driver's license. You know, things
So the
that
2
are not
alcohol
related
related
to.
are 2020 and 2021?
Correct. Otherwise, it's operating after suspension, operating, after revocation. He does have an intoxilizer also on his vehicle. And the only thing that showed up is he has not paid court fees of $150, but he did set up a payment plan for $150 per month. So he is also going to make good on that.
Thank you, Alderperson Grisham. Is there any other discussions or questions?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel.
do we know anything about the policies at this place of employment as far as employees drinking while they're working?
If I may answer that, he said there would be no drinking. And because it's small, a small event venue, it's not something that a provisional or he would have supervision. They're small parties, and it's usually one person overseeing the operation.
But he could take that license and technically go work
We
anywhere.
discussed that too. So technically, we give him this permission, he could go anywhere. But he was pretty solid that this was going to be his stepping stone. He has a full-time job. He just wants to explore the opportunity to possibly get into wedding planning.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So this is I vote is to approve the license?
The motion was to
deny.
deny. So an aye is to deny.
Okay.
And
Mr. Mayor, then I do have a question.
go ahead.
Not on that committee anymore, but when I was on that committee, it seemed to the state of Wisconsin, it kind of tied our hands in that if the applicant can demonstrate rehabilitation, that we cannot hold his previous offenses against him. I do see the assistant city attorney. Does Nick have something to share on this?
Mr. Serwin.
Thank you. It's a combination of Chapter 125, which is the liquor licensing, and Chapter 111.335, which is the basically discrimination in hiring. And so these are shall issue license if individuals meet the qualifications, unlike Class A or Class B, which are may issue license, discretionary. There is room for denial if there is a If they're law offenses, that substantially, the wording is substantially relate to the licensed activity, but they have the opportunity to show competent evidence of rehabilitation, which is what you're talking about. Some of those discussions revolve around what remedial efforts the person has made, if they've obtained a license back post the OWI, because during the penalties section of OWIs, for the most part, you can't have a license, so the penalty would have resolved. So yes, these are shall issue license. Generally, your hands are tied if they meet the qualifications. The gray area or the discretionary area is whether or not they meet the qualifications as a habitual law offender with offenses that substantially relate to the license activity.
And if I understand correctly, he currently has a driver's license,
He is valid.
but he's got a breathalyzer thing he's got to blow into.
Ignition interlock
I think
device.
That's what it is. So he has made the effort to he didn't just say, I'm walking away from, but if he wanted, he has an option to not have a driver's license. So he did make that effort. And one of the things that bothered me when I was on the committee is the efforts to rehabilitate. It seems to me it's mostly just court-ordered stuff that they're ordered to do anyways. But in this case, he chose to take the effort to get the driver's license and deal with having the interlock device on his car. And he's driving with a valid license today.
He has a valid license now from the record that we had. Generally, ignition interlock would be required on most second offenses, so that would likely be a penalty imposed along with the OWI.
But he could have just given up his license, right?
The way it works, I don't know how in the weeds you want to get on this one, but the way it works with OWIs is generally, once you reinstate, if you have ignition interlock requirement, you have to have it in any car you own or any car you operate. And so it's like a restriction on your license. If I get pulled over, I need to have glasses on. If he gets pulled over, he
But
needs
you
to
can
have...
walk a car. You can walk around with
You can walk.
glasses.
Yeah, you could. He could. What he could do is never have an ignition interlock installed, get a license, and make it through this year or year and a half or whatever it's going to be that he has to have it. But he'll never have to install it because he doesn't have a car.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Mayor Devine?
Alderperson Grisham?
And if I may add, Mr. Salinas did say that beyond what was court-ordered, he chose to remain in counseling. It had helped him. He stopped because he couldn't afford out-of-pocket costs, but he did go through the AODA and the counseling and everything that I guess the court order would mandate, but he said that he kind of had a reckoning. So he could have been pulling a fast one, but I believed him, at least to give him the opportunity.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Stefanski.
No. Oh, wait, this is to,
The motion is to
sorry.
deny.
Aye. Yep, thank you. Aye.
Turner.
No.
Weigel.
No.
Grisham.
No.
Haas.
No.
Keen.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Reinke.
No.
Rote.
Aye.
7 approved and 2 to deny. So 7 to 2, it's approved.
It's like we're voting on a TIF.
Do we need a motion to approve now?
Yes.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion.
If I may.
And a second. If there is no other discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Stefanski.
No.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Isaac.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
No.
7 in favor, 2 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, Tuesday, August 1st at 7 p.m.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.